Good morning. My name is Master Gunnery Sergeant Foshi. I'm the Chief Marine Corps Drill Instructor of Navy OCS. Welcome to a behind-the-scenes look of Naval Officer Candidate School, Pensacola, Florida.
0! First squad allows the fourth, second squad allows the third squad, and first squad allows the second. Do you understand that? Yes, sir! Here you go, here you go, here you go. Forward, to right, left, forward, God.
The mission of the Navy: prompt, sustained combat operations at sea and on land in support of national policy. What we do, we take young men and women, civilians and prior enlisted, develop them morally, mentally, and physically, and imbue them with the highest deals of honor, courage, and commitment for naval service. The goal is to prepare a newly commissioned officer for service in a leadership position.
You align to the member closer to fourth squad than you are. Do you understand that? Yes, sir!
There are 3 phases in OCS: the indoctrination phase, the officer candidate phase, and then the candidate officer phase. Indoctrination phase is the first week, and that's when they're in their green outfits and called indoctrination candidates, finally called poopies. That's when they're in their chrome domes, and they're first learning everything they need to learn to begin.
This is your family. What is this? Family!
My first week at Officer Candidate School was interesting, to say the least. It definitely was not what I expected. It was definitely kind of a shock. I relied a lot of my prior military training to basically bring the other candidates together as a team, because essentially you have individuals from around the country, most just out of college, some are young kids, what I consider kids now, but young adults.
A lot of us come from college where there's a lot of downtime and there's a lot of free time where you have time to yourself, and you come here and we spend a lot of hours every day going from one thing to the next. We are, basically we're running straight from 5 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, and that's one of the most difficult things to get used to, just in terms of the environment.
The first week is, I guess you could call it culture shock. It's an eye-opener.
I was under the impression that we would come here and in the mornings we'd do a few push-ups and steps. We'd go jogging for about 2 or 3 miles, and then we go to classes all during the day. So it hasn't been that way. It's been a lot more difficult than I anticipated.
You'll maintain alignment at all costs. Do you understand that? Yes, sir! Your job is not distance. Do you understand that? Yes, sir!
And I can say it's now, maybe 2 weeks ago I wouldn't have said it, but it's a rewarding challenge.
They don't have any real teamwork experience, they don't have any military experience, they don't know what to expect. All they know is they got some guy yelling at them, and what do I do to get this guy to stop yelling at me? So they relied on the prior enlisted men to really rear them, bring them along, and get them back online and make the team stronger.
This is one of the most challenging things I've ever done. I like it in the fact that I know it's going to make me a better officer and a better person. I appreciate it, but I don't like it. It's a challenge. It's difficult days sometimes.
A good officer is somebody who puts his men or women before themselves. The unselfishness, that's what makes a good leader. A good candidate has to be a good follower before they're a good leader.
Left, left, back, left, right, left, forward.
Without the Marines here at OCS, OCS wouldn't be OCS. The Marines bring militarization, they bring discipline, they bring that camaraderie that no other service provides. And the students learn immensely from them.
This is something. You mean to tell me after all this time you can't put a cover on your head before you get out of veranda? No!
Sometimes it seems like they're being mean and they're singling you out and they're just trying to pick on you, but that's not true. It's just part of the training, and I know my drill instructor is trying to make me a better candidate and eventually a better officer.
There's a love-hate relationship in the beginning, and by the end of the 12-week period, the Marines are loved by the students.
I think that the relationship that we have with our drill instructors, some might describe as a love-hate relationship, but in my opinion, bringing the drill instructors here was the best decision that the Navy's ever made.
Right, slow, and down.
I'd say from the very beginning, probably about week 2 or week 3, they understand the idea and the concept of teamwork, because they realize that if whatever they do as far as making a mistake, that it's felt not just by themselves, that's felt throughout the class. That's where the class drill instructors come in.
No individuality. You function as a team. So if one individual of the team messes up, then the team is responsible for getting that individual in line.
I would say teamwork is one of the most important things that we learn here. We learn that individual success really takes a backseat to team success.
The entire program is revolved around teamwork and discipline.
Then they get into the officer candidate phase, and they go into their academics, they get into their militarization and learn all the academics that they need to learn: navigation, seamanship, division officer, their naval leadership that they need to learn.
First thing that happened, we have a primary inspector and a secondary inspector. The secondary inspector, first thing he does is come out and he checks the formation to make sure the paces between the ranks are correct. And during the inspection, the index finger here have to touch the cover, and they should be looking in the palm of their hand, like so. This ruler is for measurements, 1/4 inch on the name tag. Or we got it marked here, so you just stick it up there and make sure it's 1/4 inch above the pocket, and the 1.5 inches. It's on your insignia to make sure it's 1.5 inches, and 2 inches back from the front of the cover, like so.
The victory run is the culmination at the end of all of their graded academic events before they go into candidate officer phase. So it's kind of the woohoo, we're done with the major graded portions. So that is the victory run. We run with the national ensign, the flag, the American flag, the Navy flag, and the Marine Corps flag, and we run as a formation. We run through the base, about a 3-mile course, and that's the whole regiment, and all the staff goes, and then they come back and they have a little ceremony where they are awarded whatever awards they've gotten for either PT excellence or academic excellence or military excellence or what's called the Snowflake Award, and they've been excellent in all 3 categories. And then the last 3 weeks of OCS are their candidate officer phase, and that's where they become kind of the junior staff, and they're pretty much running the regiment and the battalions. As far as what we want from them when they leave here is honor, courage, and commitment, the Navy core values. We want them to lead from the front, set the example. They're out there to be the examples. They're ambassadors for the Navy no matter where they go. As long as they're in the Navy, they're ambassadors for the Navy. And that we want them to set that example so their sailors look at them and go, that's who I want to be. I want to be an officer.
Class 0207. Raise your right hands and repeat after me. I state your name.
I have been appointed in the United States Navy. Do accept such appointment. And do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
The first salute after commissioning, the ensign, first enlisted person that he meets, salutes and gives a silver salute. And with our staff, it's always the class chief and the class drill instructor.
It's kind of amazing. We kind of joke and say we have little balls of clay that walk in the door, and we mold them into ensigns and send them on their way at the end of 12 weeks.
I feel great. It's amazing to finally be at this point. So.
It was tough. It was a challenge both mentally and physically, and now that it's done, I'm just very proud that I made it through.
And now you know what it takes to be an officer and a gentleman.
Class 0207, dismissed!
Oh man, that's great. God, can I have one of these? I wish I was that thin and attractive now.
That's a great picture. God, it makes me cry.
Yeah, this really brings it back.
Oh my God, what was wrong with me?
I actually have this picture at home. It's always a constant reminder and stuff that sometimes you can have too much fun on locations.
The whole thing was like a great summer camp experience. It was long hours and hard work, but Taylor made it so you didn't finish a day's work thinking, man, all that stuff I could have done and didn't get to do.
Everyone put their best foot forward, and yours had to be there too, or you were gonna stick out, and not in a good way. So there was pressure to perform, pressure to be good, pressure to be innovative, that I think all of us put on ourselves. You didn't want to be the one that didn't come up to par with everyone else. You just, it's work in that sense. But when you're working with people that are that good at what they do, you will look better.
They were all wonderful actors. I mean, really wonderful. I love actors. I truly love them. And I empathize with what all actors go through. And they were, as most actors do, in an act of generosity to yourself and to others, you become the character, especially on a location.
It was my first movie of that type, and also the experience was one where it was a real ensemble experience where we all went through similar experiences together, and some reacted well and some not so well, but you know, we all went through it together, and it allowed us to bond deeply as a group of actors, and then as a group of characters.
Oh yeah. Why'd they put you at the front of the line, you fat pig, you? I'm saying, one slip, Gossett, and this could have been a different movie.
And as you know, there was a little bit of rain in the area, so we were, the environment as well as the story, the kind of journey of the story of the movie bonds people, because these cadets have no one to hang on to but each other. So that invariably happened. You're away for 14 weeks, a bunch of strangers, in a very isolated scenario. And sometimes interactions and connections are made.
And we get to Port Townsend, and there's a big long drive that goes around some kind of park, you know, as you get to the Manresa Castle, where we were all staying. And there was, and I'm from Louisiana, you know, and there's this at the end of this road is this statuary shop. And it's got all these little black fishing boys, you know, I mean, sitting there.
And I bought him one. And he didn't understand at that time when I bought him one why I bought it for him, that it was in protest. And I said, because I want you to take that thing and bust it in your driveway. Or keep it. Do whatever you want to do. But I want you to be able to destroy that, because it pisses me off when I look at it.
So he gave me the sledgehammer and stuff, and right there, I mean, this is the first day, you know, I mean, this is how I started off, smashing, you know, one of those little black fishing statues. The other one is still sitting on the edge of my pool to this day. Kept that one. Yeah, I'm telling you, you know, I mean, so, I mean, it was rock and roll from the beginning. Had no idea what to expect, and, you know, every day was kind of an adventure.
I said fall in, you slimy worms. Put your toes on the edge of that chalk line.
The first day on the set was intimidating. It was very cold. We were lined up doing the introduction of all of us in the troupe. There was Lou Gossett.
Yes, sir. Understand? Yes, sir.
Thank God David was there, but he was down the way from me in line. Scary, and it was a big production, and you felt the pressure that Taylor was under, so you didn't want to be a problem. You didn't want to have an issue or a question, or you just didn't want to, just want to do your job.
Now, every time I say understand, I want the whole group to say, yes, sir. Understand. Yes, sir. Understand. Yes, sir.
Taylor had some funny little rules. One of them was that we weren't allowed to talk to Lou Gossett. He wanted us to be intimidated by Lou Gossett, which we all found very amusing but pretended to obey. The separation that he placed between the Pensacola real drill sergeant and Lou Gossett and the rest of us was probably very helpful.
They got him a house away from our hotel. He was never to talk to us or see us in any way. And only on set when he was the DI. And I think that helped a lot, because we were never able to kind of like go behind the mask and get to know the real Lou.
What's your name, boy?
Emiliano Santos de la Cera, sir. He completely submerged himself in the character, and that first kind of orientation day was a pretty scary day, because he was not holding back, and he was getting on people's faces as they do, and that was a very real scene. They don't let up on you because they have to weed out the people that are not capable, and that's what that sequence is about, and it's an authentic sequence.
Be proud of them wings. They're the only ones you're gonna leave here with. Mayonnaise.
There wasn't an actor up there that didn't have a tremendous amount to play off where Lou was concerned. I mean, he really brought the whole movie to bear and carried the movie in that respect. I think he was terrific, and I think he made the job possible for the other performers.
Oh my God. I remember this barber too. These guys do these haircuts in about 10, 15 seconds. It's like mass production. They go vroom, 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 vroom. Next. We did a scene that it's in the movie where I come out of that right after this happened. I don't know if it was scripted or if Lou just came up with it, but he calls me, hey there, scrotum head. From then on, that was my nickname in the platoon, scrotum head.
Scrotum head. You think that's funny, don't you, Wally?
Oh, it was hell. I'd grown it, and I have curly hair. It takes forever to get it down on your shoulders, and I had it pretty long, and you know, I'm an old hippie. I like the long hair. I'm a long hair at heart, but it was rough cutting all your hair out. This is the bodacious set of Tata scene. We had to do so many push-ups. We had to do hundreds of push-ups, and we'd do 2 or 3 and then just collapse. And Gere was in great shape, man. He was in great shape, and could outdo me. He'd do more push-ups than me, but he's smaller, so he didn't have to push as much up in the air.
I was in really good shape. We were all in really good shape in that movie, and I was doing like 100 push-ups, you know, and take one, 100, you know. They said, okay, we're gonna do it again, and I'm going, oh man, I don't know if I can do that again. Let's start at 50. Okay, start 51, 52. They said, okay, we need another take, and by the end of it, we started at like 96, 96, 97, 98.
That's a big wall. I must have been incredibly fit because I have no memory of any of that being difficult. That's funny. Taylor had been building up in all of our minds what an obstacle the wall would be. At the same time, he was insistent that I pump iron in my condo, getting ready. Well, you know, if someone tells me to go and get fit, I'm going to get fit. So when we went out there, I saw the wall. He told me it was built to the specifications of the obstacle course and the wall at Pensacola. It was too easy. So we added the 2 extra feet, which actually made it easier for me in terms of performance.
I used a ladder. We had a ladder behind the wall, and I was very happy to climb it, and go right over. I'm gonna tell the truth. And so, somebody won't hurt themselves trying to do a stunt, down the line when there's a perfectly good ladder to be used. Use it.
This is a shot from Lou Gossett's rescue of me in the Dilbert Dunker, and there you have it. And I have to say, there's some acting involved in the sequence, but it's truly a dangerous machine, and so therefore, those scenes were very real.
Oh man, I can't believe there's a smile on my face. This is when we're in the pool, and dude, I was so miserable. But when there's a camera around, I'll tend to smile, but yeah, I was miserable.
Dilbert Dunker, I don't think I'll ever forget as long as I live. It's this machine that simulates crash landing of a jet in the ocean. They had nobody in Port Townsend, Washington that could double a girl, so I did it. And then there's the stunt coordinator, and he says to me, okay, now listen to me. He said, I want you to blow out all your air out of your nostrils as you're hitting the water, or you're gonna blow your sinuses out. And I'm like, I'm gonna what? And he said, just listen to me, are you ready? Give me the thumbs up. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah. And I gave him the thumbs up, and I'm thinking, blow air, just blow air, because I did not want my sinuses blown out. And I hit there and I blew air and I didn't have any problem with sinuses, but I had no air left. So now I am boom, 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 air bubbles, boom, I'm out.
Oh gosh, that was great. You think they'd let us do it again?
This is a perfect picture of the kind of rapport that the cast had with each other. You know, you can tell we're all so comfortable and relaxed and laughing and just enjoying each other. And I think that's the kind of camaraderie that was developed.
Me and David Caruso hung out a lot, and David and Tony Plana were roommates. And David was writing some music, and he would write the words and I'd write the music, and we'd stay up all night working on these things, you know, playing with my guitar, and we thought we were quiet. Tony would get so angry. He'd beat on the wall first, then he'd come out and chew us out. We'd say, okay, we'll be quiet. He'd go back to bed, be whispering the songs like that. He'd come back out again in a rage. Oh, he'd get so angry. But yeah, Caruso and I had a great time.
We came back and actually did some recording on some of the music that we originated up in Washington, so that was neat.
And we were in this little cocoon, you know, Port Townsend, Washington. It was like a little Disneyland bubble for a while. We lived this fictional existence, and we lived it on many levels. And so I think that saying goodbye was hard. Taylor was really smart in the way he orchestrated this film, in the way he shot it, and the conditions he created. I think one of the last things we shot was the graduation, and it was very bittersweet.
There was a sense of we graduated, and a sense of pride that we'd all worked hard. So, I mean, that goodbye to each other that we had, the goodbye with Lou, saying goodbye to him and saluting and all of that, and it was a very tender day.
It's also one of those rare opportunities to work with a lot of actors every day. That just doesn't happen. Usually you have, you know, if you have even a fairly good-sized cast, you'll work a little bit with a few of them. We were always together.
You know, my life would have been very different, you know, had that experience not happened. Yeah, I mean, I think both personally, on a personal level and on a professional level, you know, for me, it was kind of a magical film. You know, and I kind of wish I could go back and do it all over again.
When I was a little kid, I dreamt about being in the movies. I dreamt about the movies, the miracle of the movies, the mystery of the movies. And what was created in Port Townsend, Washington, the environment, the setting, the pursuit of that story on the film and on the set, it was the movies that I dreamt about.
I'd like to show you the original Officer and a Gentleman.
Hot.
Do you remember in the film when Paula shows Richard who her father was? Well, that's me as I graduated from Officer Candidate School in 1965.
See, your real father was an officer's candidate like me.
To be an officer and a gentleman, as a United States officer, as a commissioned officer, we are held to a higher standard. We are the epitome of the Navy Corps values of honor, courage, and commitment.
As long as there has ever been a man in uniform, there has been a girl that loves a uniform.
I think that Officer and Gentleman really captured that feeling that a lot of people have when they first are introduced to someone in the military. Sometimes you see these military guys as your ticket out.
And who says I'm not going after what I want?
The military lifestyle kind of rushes people to get married fast because you meet a guy in Pensacola and he's finishing training and he's leaving. And so it's either he lives in San Diego and you're living here, or you get married. And that happens a lot. I was born on my dad's first deployment. He was at sea while I was born. That was his very first one, and by the time I was 22, he had been at sea a total of 11 years, so he had been gone half my life. And I definitely had a lot of bitter feelings about that and said I would never marry anybody in the military, and then of course I did.
I had lots of thoughts of what it would be like to be married to someone in the military, and I was not interested in that at all. I mean, just the life that they lead and having your husband be gone constantly, it's not what I wanted for my life, but once I got to know him and just that love takes over and it doesn't matter.
Well, since we've been married, I've been away probably over a year of those 2 years. Well, before we got married, I sat her down and we had a long discussion of basically what I expect in terms of my career, where I'm going to go, and to make sure she was on the same page, because there's nothing worse than having your own goals in life and your spouse having something else in mind and they never match up, and eventually that just leads to divorce. I wanted to make sure that didn't happen.
Our families knew each other when Sarah was first born. Our fathers were in the same squadron. I went off to school, she went off to school. I was commissioned and I was a brand new Navy ensign and went back down to see this girl who I hadn't seen in 10 years, but I remembered how cute she was back then and figured that it would be worth looking her up.
My mom kept saying, it's a family friend, just go and be nice. She opened up the door and it was like birds were singing and there was a rainbow over his head, and it was very exciting to me and romantic. In Shore Duty, which is my weekly newspaper column, I like to say that I'm giving the human side of being a military wife. I think a lot of girls come into marrying into the military and they have a very romantic idea of the military, and you know, kind of like in the movie Officer and Gentleman, it's very romantic and passionate, and you know, it's a man in uniform, but there's a sequel to that, you know, that then it's very difficult to be married to someone in the military.
I think Sarah thought that she knew what she was getting into, but then once we were actually in it and we were doing the moves and I was gone all the time, it was a little bit of a wake-up call to her.
First, you know, you're a couple, you have all these people, you know, you have your daily life and schedule, and then you have nothing and you're on your own again. It's also hard having him come back, too, because you're used to doing things your way, you're used to not having anyone else to consider whether you want to watch TV or this or that. So it's also an adjustment, not only having him go, but also come back.
Your marriage will never be the way it was before deployment. And I think that if you look at it as that each time they come home from deployment is a chance to start a new part of your marriage, that you'll be less apt to get disappointed.
There is definitely a getting to know your spouse again process once you get home. People change over 6 months, and it's something that you just have to accept a little bit, and that's a good thing. You probably both have grown a little bit as people over the course of the deployment.
Seeing what Glenn goes through and what he has to do, and not just what he has to sacrifice, but what I sacrificed and what other families sacrificed by being married to somebody who's in the military. I don't think the country has enough appreciation for what they truly, truly do, maybe because they don't really know what they have to do and what they have to give up.
For a long time, I think people were very hush-hush about the real realities of being a military wife and military life, and that set women up for disappointment. I know when I was first married, I felt like, well, I'm not keeping it together like these other women are, obviously. These women who are so strong and capable, like my mother. And so I just wanted to start writing about what it's really like and being candid so that other women could say, oh, that's me, I feel that way too. You know, I'm not the only one.
A lot of women write her and say that they really appreciate her book because they had thought they must be the only Navy wife who isn't cut out for it and can't deal with their husband being away. And they like reading about someone else's experience who just couldn't quite handle it while her husband was away.
For 7 years, I've been taking care of these children and our life while my husband goes and serves the country, and I think that is a really important part of it, and sometimes doesn't get enough credit.
But essentially, one of the major things that we've really have going for us is open lines of communication. We speak our minds, and there's really no reason for us to hide the truth or sugarcoat anything.
I think, honestly, I know it sounds cheesy, but I think we really have a good, strong relationship, a lot of love, and I think that has, I know it has a huge impact on me. That gives me the strength to do this. You know, sometimes I question, like, is this what I want for my life? But I think of that love, and I hear him and I'll talk to him, and then it doesn't matter where he is, I know this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be here for him, with him and by his side, and I go where he tells me to go, and I live my life with him.
Well, there was a moment when I saw this very, very diminutive drill instructor going at a 6'5" tall, big, beefy football player of a guy, and the guy was just shaking, and you know, you worried what might come next from him, and he was using this language that I'd never heard before, this amazingly raunchy, in-your-face language, and it really inspired me to write the character of Sergeant Foley.
Seeger! Mayo! Wally! You've got enough goddamn energy to run them sewers? Get over there and give me 50 on the double, right now!
In preparation, I went down to San Diego, MCRD, Marine Corps Recruitment Division, just south of Camp Pendleton, and I met Gunny Dower.
I told Lou that my part was to teach him how to be loud without opening his mouth. And to get your point across, you don't have to be a raving maniac.
You better stop eyeballing me, boy. I'll rip your eyeballs out the sockets and skull, you to death.
His voice was kind of like hard, but he was like a rock.
Some of the things that I had him do, or had time to teach him, was bearing, trait, inflections of your voice, glaring, wearing of the uniform, how you walk, how you stand, all of those things. It's a big part. He said, what do I do? What do I do? I said, well, first thing you do, Lou, is take that earring out of your ear.
Yeah, you hear, what is this guy with his earring? Get out of here, right?
And so he had a diamond stud in his ear, and he's got it back in now, I see. Got a bigger one. But he took it out, and we just got busy.
Let's get it safe around here. Stand straight up. All right, get out of the way. The best in the regiment is running on by. The best in the regiment is running on by.
I brought in a guy to be my reality expert, somebody that would make sure that we were not going to do anything that didn't really happen in the military. And he hired a guy named Buck Welcher, who was a DI at Pensacola, who brought in the absolutely up-to-the-minute sense of how everything worked.
Sounds like a DI, doesn't it? Buck Welcher.
Gunnery Sergeant Buck Welcher. What a character.
And there was a lot of it was secret stuff. He said, look, you can never put this in a film. In fact, you can't even remember that I tell you this. I'd have to kill you if you ever told anyone what we really do at Sarasota.
So Taylor had the access to, you know, the word. You know, we were going to do it exactly the way it would happen in the military. So that helped a lot for Lou's character, because Buck Welcher was a real DI, and he was there to say no. The drill instructor would do this, wouldn't do that. He'd go this far, he wouldn't go this far. And to make those, every time Lou kind of marches, and you feel that he's a true proud Marine.
When I initially found out about the movie and I'd convinced Taylor to hire me, I went to the Marine Corps, and the Marine Corps said I could not do the movie. And we kind of struck a deal. He said, look, you got enough leave on the books, you can go do the movie. So the part that I play in the movie, I'm the drill instructor in the red running suit that runs by with the other platoon. And in the credits, my name just simply is listed as Buck Welcher.
Now, he was a no-nonsense guy. I mean, his crew cut started here, like at the eyebrow. It was like nothing but a wrinkled forehead. He was an intense guy.
Buck was tough. You know, I mean, he really was kind of a no-nonsense guy. You know, as I remember him, you know, anyhow. And I mean, he thought, and I know it, you know, and stuff. I mean, no matter how good we thought we were, you know, he knew we were all chumps.
Scary, yeah. And he was tough. He was tough. And apparently at Pensacola he was tough. People were afraid of him.
I think I was always accused of probably being the loudest drill instructor at Pensacola, Florida. I could turn up the volume. When you are approximately 1/8 of an inch from somebody's ear or nose to nose with somebody, and you are so loud that they literally cannot understand what you're saying. That's loud.
Get up here! Shut up! That's like the having fist fight today.
Buck was on set to make sure that technically we were correct. That was Buck's job. And we were. And it was very accurate. And it was important to Taylor and actually to the U.S. Navy that we were honest in our approach.
The film portrayed AOCS to, I think, the best degree that could ever be portrayed without being at AOCS. It gives you the concept of you have a Marine drone instructor that's going to inflict terror upon you, and Lou Gossett did that very well.
You are without a doubt the most pathetic class I've ever been assigned to.
Lou, I think, learned a lot from him. I mean, Lou got an Academy Award for this.
He put us through our paces for about a month in the beginning, prior to shooting and so on, and you find out all types of things about yourself. For instance, that you don't know how to walk. You certainly don't know how to march, but you don't know how to walk. You don't know how to stand. You don't know how to respond to commands. You don't know how to listen. And that is great, because he gets your attention.
Well, I think it was the circus coming to town for him. You know, I mean, he kind of runs his own show as a drill instructor. You know, those 25 guys or whatever it is that are in his platoon, he's their mommy and daddy, and he runs it.
We still stay in touch. You know, he emails me, and we you know, he keeps track of my career, and he's always saying hi. And whenever I'm anywhere where he is, we get together and talk and have a drink. He was wonderful because he treated us for real, like we were really in basic camp, and all of us were grateful because we really got a sense on how to act when Lou was replacing him.
The thing that I remember most about drill instructors is it makes sense, but how much they really care about their recruits. They really care, but they can't show it.
Every candidate, I have the silver dollar of every silver dollar that I was ever given at AOCS. I saved them all. And I was given one by Richard Gere on the filming of Officer and a Gentleman. When it got towards the end of the film, Richard come up and he handed me the silver dollar. We were filming the graduation scene, as a matter of fact. And Rich came up and he handed me the silver dollar and he pressed it in my hand. He says, "As far as I'm concerned, you're the drill instructor here." That was a proud moment for me. That made me feel really good.